Hello. Welcome back to the channel. We are back in action. Now look, I know I told you guys that I was coming out with like an OVW video and a Ryback video, but you're just gonna have to bear with me right quick. I was doing the research for the iceberg, which I've been doing for the past few days, and I came across this specific topic. One of the few topics on the iceberg that I had no knowledge of beforehand, which is fucking crazy because I made the iceberg. But today we are going to be talking about a specific incident which occurred in a specific Japanese wrestling dojo. Now, behind closed doors, the Japanese dojo system is like never short of horror stories. Whether it be the New Japan Dojo or the All Japan Dojo or anything in between, we've heard a whole bunch of terrible stories and terrible urban legends that have came out of those dojos, including the likes of death as well as worker abuse. But what about animal abuse? Surely that cannot be prevalent, and that's never happened. There's a certain line you don't cross, right? Alright, get to the fucking point, asshole. So we're talking about the Dragon Gate monkey scandal, otherwise known as Monkey Gate. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I kinda just came up with the Monkey Gate name. I don't know if that's actually the name, but if it is, that makes sense. Now, before we get too crazy and before we completely rip the rubber off of this situation, let's add a little bit of context and let's get to know our antagonists a little bit. This situation happened around the late 2000s as well as 2010. And like a broken record, the Dragon Gate Dojo is the setting. Our main antagonists in this situation are Ryoma, also known as Yohei, Nao-chan, who is a trainee, Kagetora, as well as the monkey's owner, Sima. And also, to add further context so you understand how this all came to light, around this time, Dragon Gate had a section of their website where the wrestlers could basically blog their lives. It was unregulated, and to use the wrestling term, it was a shoot. Now, most people use this for its, natural intention. However, one of our main antagonists, Ryoma, decided he was going to use it for a different purpose. And if you haven't caught wind of what the Dragon Gate monkey scandal is and you haven't put two and two together, they were abusing the dojo's monkey known as Korra. And as I said, the owner of Korra, Sima, basically had Korra live in the dojo, and the trainees were supposed to take care of it. Things that didn't happen for 500, please. Well, I mean, they probably did take care of the monkey a little bit, but instead of, fully taking care of the animal as a normal human would, they decided instead, mainly Nao-chan, to abuse the monkey. I am not having fun anymore. To divert from the situation a little bit, I'm pretty sure we all know that a large majority of serial killers in their early lives start by doing heinous acts to animals, and then they work their way up to humans. I think it's pretty safe to say that this is a double oh fuck no. It's one thing to do it. It's a very terrible thing, one of the worst things you can do on the planet, but it's one thing to do it. It is a whole different beast to do it and then go on the internet and basically blog the entire situation, quote unquote, through the eyes of Korra, and then attach pictures and the whole 9 yards. What? Hey bro, I got a really good idea. Let's commit a terrible and unethical crime and then, confess to it and post proof of it on the internet. That sounds like an amazing idea. I don't think Ring would agree to that, and I don't even think Zetric would agree to that, and Zetric's down to do anything. Granted, we would not be abusing animals because we have morals. We'd be doing something like, I don't know. I'm not gonna admit to a crime, but you feel me. You feel what I'm trying to get at here. This was extremely stupid. Just extremely stupid. So, now we're gonna get into the kind of dark part, and we're going to basically describe the things that they did to Korra. They choked it by the neck until it passed out. They burned it with charcoal, dragged it around by a chain on its neck. They threw it into a tub of hot boiling water and apparently attached firecrackers to it and then lit them. What the fuck? And allegedly some other stuff, but for my own mental sanity, I'm just gonna leave it there. But I think you get the gist of the fact that they were absolutely horrible. Like, terrible to this monkey. I believe there were 2 instances of the monkey being choked, but I'm not completely sure, so don't quote me on this, because it's all hearsay and a lot of the stuff has been deleted, and like everybody has a different story for whatever reason. It just depends on whoever story you hear it from first, basically. But back to the choking thing, the choking incident. In one of the pictures, it shows Shingo Takagi choking the monkey, but they have an explanation for this. Apparently, the monkey had escaped, which, do you blame him? Do you fucking blame him? And had to be restrained. Now, every other picture is kind of up in the air on who did all the actual abuse of the monkey. Although I could still be wrong on the choking thing. I don't know for sure. There's only so many places that talk about this, and it feels like every single one of them has a different story. And because of that, every story is like so up in the air. Everything was deleted and wiped fairly quickly, while certain pictures are still easily findable. Those certain pictures make me very angry, so I act like they don't exist. This situation had fairly major consequences. Some people might see them as minor consequences. I may be some people, but that's besides the point. We can leave that one out of here. Ryoma was fired damn near immediately because he was the whistleblower, or considered the whistleblower. He then retired, and then like came back 2 years later, and it was like nothing ever happened. And he's in Pro Wrestling Noah right now as Yohei. I just honestly hope that he changed for the better. Another fallout from this situation was that CIMA and Kagetora's, like their payments that they were receiving for certain shows went to animal abuse charity, at least a pretty huge portion of it. And from what I read, the majority of the people involved are also forced to shave their heads as punishment. So I mean, that's unfortunate, but I mean, when you do something like that, what the fuck do you expect? As for Nao-chan, also known as, I'm not even gonna try to say his name, something Matsushita, I don't know how to say his name, but Weeball. I don't believe he ever ended up actually wrestling or making a debut, because I can't find him on Cage Match. I can't find anything about him. I've looked in a pretty good amount of places, so I guess he just like disappeared off the face of the planet. What I do know is, as punishment, his debut was postponed and he had to restart his training, and he had to take back his vow to join the Dragon Gate roster. Now, there are allegations that certain people were involved and had like their involvement covered up by Dragon Gate, but those are just allegations. Those certain people involved I will not name, but a lot of top stars were thrown into these allegations. And as for Korra, it was actually a pretty happy ending. Korra was sent to go live with a certain roster member's family. I don't know who it was, but apparently it was a good home for Korra. Hell yeah. Now, as for Dragon Gate, did it really affect them moving forward? No, because the majority of people just like swept it off and brushed it off. It was a pretty big deal for a couple weeks, and now here we are like 15 years later talking about it. It's crazy how it all just ended up like happening like that. And it's also kind of crazy how somebody thought it would be a good idea to make blog posts about it. What was he thinking? What am I missing something? Confessing to crimes on the internet, a tale as old as time. So in summary, the Dragon Gate monkey scandal was a very dark time for professional wrestling. It exposed a side of the business that probably should be talked about more, but what do I know, brother? I'm just a mark. But anyways, that's gonna be all from me. I appreciate you guys for taking time out of your day to watch this video. If you like the video, and if I earned it, I would appreciate if you like the video, as well as subscribe to the channel. The Wrestling Iceberg is coming very soon, preferably within a 5-day window or so. Been kind of getting on some side quests with financial aid and stuff for school in the future, but we ball. As always, you should join the Discord server, because that's where everybody that's ever been cool is located. I mean, you can also follow me on Twitter, but I don't really use it, but you can still follow me, because what if I do use it, Those links are in the description below. Once again, I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Y'all stay safe. God bless.